Thank you. So let's just say that it's been fun putting this together, right? And I wanted something came up with generations. Larry, thank you for the setup for this. So I want to just clarify something. We had slides on there that showed, there was one slide only that showed Gen X on it. Everything else was millennials and Gen Zs and baby boomers a little bit, right? And can I just ask for a show of hands in this room? I'm going to tell you what the years are, okay? So just to be clear, Gen X's are considered birth dates from 1965 to 1980. Boomers are before that. Millennials are 81 to 96. Can I get a show of hands on how many Gen Xers are in the room? Okay, take a look around, people. Okay? According to Wikipedia, we're the slacker generation. Anybody feel like a slacker in this room? Right. So, and just so that we're clear on the numbers, because that relates to the, our purchasing power. So we talk about Gen Zers, right? And Gen Z and Gen Z. Gen Z is 67 million people. Millennials, 72 million. Baby boomers, 70 million. Guess what? Generation X is 64 million. We're just shy of the Gen Zers. Okay? So just keep that in mind as we go through stuff, because our values, according, with what Larry was saying, our values, our core values, because we're talking about people are driven by values, by core values, they're not driven by that flash or the glitz. Core values differ per generation because of what our life experiences are. And as Gen Xers, we're kind of a bridge generation. And we're finding ourselves in positions where we're basically either caring for an elderly parent or having, at the same time having kids maybe in college. And so we have different impacts on our lives. And we're still consumers that are buying homes and stuff of that nature. I'm gonna go through my presentation, but keep that in mind, because we tend to basically reinvent what we've done before and how we approach selling and pitching things. And right now, coming out of COVID, it's all up for grabs. It's a wide blank slate if we choose to take it that way, all right? So 2 years ago, we got hit by a storm called COVID-19. And if you're like me or anybody else, oh, wait a minute, here we go. We don't want to see that again, no. So we were all rudderless, right? I mean, at least for 3-4 months, we had no clue what was going on, what's going to happen, are we ever going to see the light of day again, the sky's falling, cats and dogs, all that stuff. And so we were really rudderless. And I think for some generations that are younger, this was the first major thing that happened. I remember my nephew basically graduating from high school and not having a graduation. My other nephew going into high school and not knowing whether he was going to be like from home or what, right? People looking at each other going, I didn't marry you to spend all this time with you, right? Divorce rates are going up, So anyway, so we were really kind of rudderless. I'm going to hit the right button now? Yes. And we were all, running for cover, seeking shelter, whatever shelter meant. Did we even have a common definition of what shelter is? It's just somewhere to be protected. Shelter in place. Don't you guys find that was kind of funny, though, how we phrased that? Shelter in place. It almost feels like, the get under the table in classrooms, right? Because the bomb's going to fall. So we went to shelter in place, seeking shelter, and nothing was the same. Absolutely nothing we knew was the same. Now, keep in mind that prior to COVID, I also believe that a lot of us had our heads down. We were careening as fast as we can. We were trying to add as many things on our to-do list as possible. The next goal, the next thing to achieve, etc. We weren't even looking up whether we were careening to a cliff or not. And here comes this thing called COVID-19, and it stops us in our tracks. And I think it offered us, unfortunately, there was a life cost, health crisis, but it offered us an opportunity to reset. It slowed us down long enough for us to reevaluate what is important for us and how we want to basically live our lives. What does the quality of life to us mean? And it's as individual as everybody in this room. So what does that mean? And where does it start for us to start implementing some of the things that we've learned, right? I would argue that it's in our homes, because for the first time in a very long time, we realized that we want to spend time in our homes. We want to reconnect with people. We want to have that quality of life in our lives, and it has to be housed in an environment, right? And we are talking about luxury, but what is luxury today, right? There's a slide on there where it's a quote from a person who's actually an influencer, where, and maybe it's the next one, I can't remember. No. So let's reimagine the home, right? And there's some things that I want to share with you guys that make sense, but really, it's a great time to really reinvent everything, to really dare to go there, right? And not just be told what it should be. So this is the quote. So, okay, today's life, luxury is time and space. Time to do what I want, to do it with whoever I want, and having the space to do it in that meets what my expectations are. It's all about experience, right? But now, after COVID-19, my experience is a different quality of life by my definition than it was before. Because I was moving so fast, I didn't even stop to even define what my quality of life was. It was whatever everything around me told me my quality of life should be, right? Working all kind of ungodly hours, not having time for my personal life, not having a balance, not caring for my health other than in a reactive manner versus proactive, right? Not working out, you know, all of that stuff. So let's talk about some of these areas of focus that we have. Air quality in homes. Now, a lot of the stuff we're going to cover here, my background is hospitality and commercial space, but we do high-end homes because you do somebody's office and they go, you did a great job, can you do my home now, right? So air quality, some of these things are already implemented, and if you go look up for air quality on the internet, you'll find all kind of stuff that's innovative that's happening in air quality in a commercial space. Very little in a residential environment. Because I can't see it, it's non-tangible. But you tell me if coming out of COVID-19, you would like to have built into your whole home an air filtration, not even for air ionization system that basically takes care of pathogens, particles, odors at the location and the source. And it's not the $800 to $900 ionization machines per room that I basically am buying aftermarket, right? A retrofit to an existing air conditioning system that can do that. If I have a home choice between one that has that and one that does not, which one am I going to buy? Okay? Same thing with water quality. I do a lot of spas and wellness. I've been doing them since '94. So I found it very amusing that this week, a group of leaders in the industry got together at the first spa in the United States to test quality of water from different sources in the world and rate them. Okay, high oxygenation, et cetera, et cetera. I'll share this with you because I can't remember where it is, but there was one from the Midwest that got ranked, and Santa Barbara, back home where I'm from, California, they got ranked for the highest oxygenation in water. So imagine that there's somebody actually rating quality of municipal water. And I was talking to somebody about when does it become that the quality of municipal water as a luxury part of my location choice of where I live, right? So that's water. We have places that are basically dealing with fires. So air quality in homes is not just basically, you know, we deal with landscaping with a safety barrier where the landscaping, choice of plants, the home environment is a safe haven. So we need to really deal with air quality, water quality, energy vulnerability. We talk about sustainable energy. We talk about solar panels, et cetera. We have blackouts. I mean, the grid system in the country is dated. So if you're going to do a luxury home, why wouldn't you have self-sustainability be generators that are in the basement? Okay, so that's another one that we need to figure out how to incorporate into our designs. Another area of focus, lighting, circadian rhythm, blue light, health, darkness, and sleep. How many people are on their phones at night before they turn off for the day? I appreciate you guys being honest, but right here. So our natural cycle of light, think of a plant, okay, is that we're supposed to get blue light from nature in the day, and it's supposed to wane over the course of the day, and then it's supposed to go to full darkness at night. If you don't believe me, have a plant be under complete light full 24 hours and tell me if it survives or not. I've done green walls, they do not survive, okay? There has to be a sleep cycle to this part of the conversation. Circadian rhythm is that changing of light. You can do circadian rhythm lighting right now in homes, especially smart homes, where it adjusts over the course of the day. Blinds can go up. You've seen these in office buildings already, like solar blinds can go up as the sun wanes, and then we don't have a need to basically have them down. Blue light is the worst thing you can do, which is all our terminals or our phones or our iPads. Is the worst thing you can do. Isn't it kind of cool that it's two parents on each side of a child? The child is the one on the computer, in their bed, by the way, which I don't know what that headboard looks like. It's very dated, but maybe it's somebody's grandmother's house. I don't know. So here's the thing. Blue light kills your melatonin levels, which means what? I don't sleep. I don't sleep, I have depression. So is mental health part of an issue? Yeah, so you're not supposed to be exposed. And in fact, you're supposed to have, there's a term called healthy darkness, where you're literally in blackout. Now, every hotel project I've ever done, we black out the rooms. Because people come in from traveling, they're gonna present or work the next day, and they need that full darkness. We should be incorporating that as a standard in residential projects, especially luxury ones. Okay, home gyms, Zen Dens. Last year, they sold more infrared saunas to homes than they've ever done before. Except where do they sit? In the garage. Next to my treadmill and elliptical, right? Oh yeah, when I had no other option, I'll go to the garage and work out because I can't go to a gym. But now that I have an option to go to somewhere that's nicer, that's more conducive for me to be able to maintain my regimen of wellness, would I go to the garage? No. So why aren't we incorporating these into spaces? And that's how I met Wendy, because that project that she was referring to, they had a call out for a gym. And then this joint common friend of ours, Shannon Ratcliffe, she said, would you want to do like a Zen Den in there? Where you have like a meditation space, you have a workout space, you have certain amenities like steam sauna, body jets in the bathroom, where it actually is conducive and encouraging for you to be able to sustain your regimen of wellness. So that's, and then I want to point out the thing on the very far right, I guess. Those are built-in gardens that you can have. You don't even need to have the real estate to do it outside. Again, life cycle, light's not on all the time, but that's incorporated into your millwork in the kitchen. And everybody's millennial and Z, favorite, you can actually control it on an app on your phone. Just don't do it after 12 o'clock when you're not supposed to be exposed to blue light. Okay. And I've used those infrared saunas. I almost treat myself every time I work out. I treat myself to sauna because it's a restorative situation. So you're not just dealing with your health as something, or massage or therapy as being, it's nice to do every once in a while. This is ingrained into your way of living on a daily basis. Health, mindfulness, other things. Working from home, that's a reality. That's not going away anywhere, for a very simple reason. Companies have realized that they can function to a certain acceptable degree of efficiency by not having to house all their workers in the same space. Now, that doesn't apply to every industry, but it applies to a lot of service industries. What does that mean? That means the company doesn't have to rent that X number of square feet. They can rent now 50% of that square feet, which means their bottom line is now more profitable. Now, does that mean that HR is pulling their hair out of their head trying to figure out how to basically manage these people in a remote situation? Does it mean that when all these people are remotely working, we need to be consistent with what their green screens or their backdrops or whatever in their homes look like as they're representing a company? There's certain guidelines of what they should be doing so that nobody basically has a child running behind them or worse when they're on a call, okay? All of that stuff is stuff that we never thought about before. Zoom was something, you kind of did. Now we have people going, I don't want to ever Zoom again. And there'll be other technologies already that allow us, I saw one yesterday, where you don't have to share your screen anymore. You can actually still be on the screen and be able to share whatever it is on your desktop while you're still on the screen, so you don't go away or get to be a small box. So working from home, hybrid work, and zones, what I mean by that is, for about over a decade, we've been moving towards open floor plans. Everything is open floor plans, big floor plans, multi-generational households, gathering spaces, entertainment zones. Open up the lift and slides, indoor-outdoor space. And then COVID hits and we go, where do I take a phone call without having everybody around me? Right, so how do we zone, because we're still gonna need open floor plans, especially as we congregate more and more multi-generationally in a home. But how do we build in also dividing areas? That could be hidden panel systems in walls. I mean, we do it for the indoor-outdoor. If you look at any WeWork, any group working spaces, that technology exists in zoning and compartmentalizing space as you need it in a hybrid manner. We should be incorporating that into our homes as well. Additionally, and we talked about sales of a lot of luxury items and online and deliveries and Amazon, right? Okay, well, what about the fact that I don't want my packages stolen in front of my door, but I also don't want to provide access into my home for the delivery person? So now are we looking at the equivalent of mudrooms that used to be only limited to places where the weather required them, to where now they are part of our homes, maybe off to the side or something, where we can provide access to the delivery person to drop off, and that's what delivery rooms are. It's not a baby boom of people getting pregnant, although, you know, with COVID, who knows, right? And then indoor-outdoor living, we talked about that. Again, very important, like when we had no choice, and by the way, EPA says prior to COVID, we spent 90% of our time indoors. My guess is a lot of it was at work. So we spent a lot of time indoors as a species. We have a newfound appreciation to being outside, whether it's a little balcony, a little side yard, whatever. I think it's important to make sure that that's incorporated into homes, especially at the luxury level. But I would argue that a lot of the stuff we're talking about here should become a standard at any quality of life housing project, including probably affordable, I would say. So this is the last one. Long-term independence, multi-generational households, and homes for life. Okay, my dad is 87 years old. He has Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. We built a house for them they moved into in 2000, which was built, I was early in my career, I would say I probably got 80% correct, maybe 75% correct of how it needs to be. Zero entry, downstairs guest bedroom. So because we knew they were gonna age in this house. This was gonna be their house for life, right? My dad is taken care of in his house, but the care is, it's like $35 an hour. Assisted living places have a ratio of 1 to 10 caregivers to residents, okay? The quality of care out there is suffering because there's so much demand and there's no pressure on the providers to actually increase the level of care. Most people on the payment side that are caregivers get paid about $18 an hour. It's like a couple of bucks higher than Chick-fil-A. And those are the people that are doing this very physically demanding and emotionally demanding job, caring for our elderly and people in our families, allowing us to actually have a life and not basically have to do this, because the cost impact on elder care, multi-generational households, it's all coming out of savings. There's no long-term care insurance that really covers it. In fact, some of the major carriers stepped away from long-term care insurance because there's no money in it the minute you start pulling on it. Certain municipalities we were just talking about are basically fast-tracking ADUs on properties because that's the way they're basically being socially responsible for you to take care of a family member. Of course, if you don't, they're building the ADUs and renting them, so you make money in advance. California just passed a law that allows you to subdivide your property in order to basically get more mileage out of it. So we need to start incorporating stuff like this in there. And I've showed the wheelchair in this picture because of just the functionality. But if you remove that wheelchair from the picture, that shower could work in anybody's house. Okay, and the functionality of not being able to, not having to step on a threshold, having that bathroom look like it's 2 to 3 feet bigger, more gracious, why not, right? So, this came to me about a week ago while I was doing this, and I started realizing that, again, maybe it's generational. I don't think I want to be driven by working for a living. I'd rather be driven by working for a legacy. Okay? So we have an opportunity coming out of COVID to really sit with ourselves and think, well, what do I want my legacy to be? We're all in professions where we have a direct impact on people's quality of lives. Okay, obviously it's a luxury business. Obviously we're making money, but what is my legacy? Okay, and that's for you guys. You know, I'm kind of trying to engage the industry and say, look, I challenge you to take it beyond just that we are providing luxury items or whatever. It's a quality of life opportunity for us to positively impact the people that we serve in a very, very strong way. The sun always shines after the storm, right? And after the storm of COVID, two things. And it happens after every storm, actually, if you think about it, okay? We come out with more clarity, right? And we're wiser for having weathered the storm. So how are we going to use our clarity and the wisdom we have gained out of 2 years now that we're going forward? And I'm not just being, you know, positive for the sake of positive. If you think about all the stuff we covered as far as areas of focus, those are add values that we can bring into our luxury business, and people will pay for them. So there is gold at the end of the rainbow. Thank you very much.